Welcome to Chaotic Harmony. I know you're hearing a different intro than usual. Well, here I am. It's Abigail, and we're back for Spilling the Tea.
Part 2.
Yes, today we are doing part 2, and I'm starting off because I was the main character of the last show.
No
and
shit.
And here is Mom. This is her part. Today we are going to share something that has been eating at Mom quite a bit. So we need to say, hey.
I might need to puke, to be honest with you.
Today we're going to take a step back and we're going to...
So basically we were starting
at... we're going to really get into learning also as well why Mom, and I just like to say, as well as why Mom started this podcast to begin with, on what made her and why she does this type of therapy in the first place.
Yeah, that's true. That is actually true. That's a good point.
So I would like to just point that out and, just in the fact that once again, your husband, my dad, says don't make yourself a victim. This is another great example of what Mom's doing today. So I just like to give you props of that before you start.
Thank you, honey. I appreciate you.
Part 2. Oh, sorry.
No, you're fine. Honestly, this is going to be a rough one for me. Because I think it's long overdue. And like you said, the whole playing victim thing, I think I've kept it to myself because, and I've voiced it to you guys, because I felt like, what is the point? Because everyone already sees me as the villain. Everyone sees me as as one of the police reports says, drama. Like, yeah. I am the drama. So with that being said, drum roll, please. My family sucks.
It's a known pattern. I just like to say, as I was saying last episode, people now that they hear you're back in town, and then when they kind of go like, yeah, we heard this, we don't believe it.
Yeah, that's weird to me.
I just like to say, this is a known pattern of the side of the family. So, anyway,
and also
continue.
This, like, for me, before I'm like, I mean, because this is a really big deal that I'm going to be talking about, and I'm really upset with how it turned out. But I'm even I'd like to say thank you to you because I mean, you're kind of in the middle. Like my mom and dad were like, you were always over there.
I wouldn't say in the middle. I would say that it was
you
just,
lived there, you know.
Like, I lived there, but I think it was more or less, they never really actually told me all those things. I think it was more of just, like, to mind fuck you. And I think that's, like, it was, like, even when I was a child, you always said, like, you have a attitude coming back from grandma and grandpa.
You always
had an attitude. And I definitely did. Like, you know, I think that was a whole ploy the whole time. It just took me this long to realize it.
And I hope it wasn't me, literally, because the one thing I struggle with is constantly with the idea of putting the idea in you guys' heads and stuff. But as you guys got older, you saw the reason why Grandma Koopman, the grandma that they call Red, my favorite person besides you guys, why her and I were so close. And this is about her. My mom isn't Brenda, and I don't care. I'm not going to, like, you guys.
I wouldn't sugarcoat it at this point.
I'm not going to sugarcoat it.
I wouldn't either.
I'm, you know, and the worst part is they did all the wrong, and I am here still trying to protect them, which I find hard. I would just like to say, with you claiming I was in the center, when I really wasn't. I was just around for a lot of it, which they did to me. I did not, like, they chose that path for me. And I get that. You know, I get that. I just don't want to tarnish like a relationship.
Hell no. Like, no. I'm my own person. I have my own opinion. You know this. But I would just like to say that it's just all, I don't even know what to say. It's all
right, so how we're going to start it is I am the oldest. The oldest of 4. This is my story. I am the oldest of 4. And I was the one that had to help raise the children when the babysitters would either not get paid or quit or whatever. My youngest brother, I just found out he got married. Wasn't invited. Go figure. But he called me mom until he was about 4. I have a picture of him right next to me holding you when you were first born.
He would beg, and I remember this as a kid, would calling you and
Yep.
Tony, begging to come to our house all the time. And I'm
Yep.
not trying to down talk him at all, but I am very disappointed about the wedding thing because
But it's
with
okay.
that being said about the middle thing though,
It literally is okay.
I know, and it's okay with me too. You know why? Because
But the middle part,
it's
that
the
is
middle part that
you being in
pisses
the
me
middle.
off is because I was the only one out of this entire little family. I call our Schultz crew. I
call
say.
it Schultz bunch.
Yeah,
but
that's
out
what
of
I would
all
say,
5
too.
of my children, you were the 8.
Out of the 8. Because we all grew
Yeah.
up together.
Yep.
And we can't just deny that. We can't deny the fact that he came to our house all the time, and I wasn't even the one he was closest with. It
He
was the
literally still
boys.
every once in a while accidentally called me mom.
It was the boys or Jordan all the way up
Yeah.
until he was a teenager, and
Until he
now
graduated,
we're just
yeah.
gonna simply forget that. Even he knew how, and he acknowledged, and I know it because I
thought
heard
he
you
was
guys
better.
talking about it when you were younger. He knew all this stuff was drama, and he
Yeah.
knew things were wrong sometimes, and he still chose to not care and still love you and not be a part of that.
And I loved him for that.
And then all of a sudden, all this, it's just, and then I'm the one being invited when I wasn't even the one closest with you. I wasn't writing essays about how you were my hero.
He actually even showed up to my first hospital visit when I tried to die by suicide, and was just a wreck.
And that was the thing that was pissing the family off the most, and why they started pushing you away was because of those problems.
My mental
and he
illness.
still chose to be there for you.
Yeah. So what ended up happening was I got pregnant with you, and oh my God, what a failure. And then I got pregnant with the twins, and fucking failure. I was such a failure. Then I got married. And then
A marriage that they forced you basically into.
oh, big time. I didn't have a place to live unless I was with the father of the twins. And then, you know what? John was okay, and I'm not here to bash John. R.I.P., by the way. But then I had another child in wedlock, so that's good. That was a good one. Good choice. But then I wasn't going to settle. And, oh my gosh, Angela, you're getting a divorce. You're single with 4 children. You're a failure.
How dare you not to be
You are
to be
tarnishing
like
our
them every
name.
day.
We work so hard for this last name. Oh my gosh, how dare you? And that is literally the sugarcoating of how I was treated, but it was much worse. And that's okay. I guess that's okay. I had my grandma the entire time who was like, don't listen to those idiots. They have stolen from me, robbed me, did this. And every time grandma would say stuff like that, she never fully explained it, right? Well, now we're going to fast forward to when grandma lived with us. She lived with us because she had 3 children who gave 2 fucks about her, and she needed more care than what they were willing to give. So me with 8 children, me and dad with 8 children, took grandma in. And I am forever grateful for that, to be honest.
And it's not fun
it is
sharing a room
Oh, yeah,
with an old ass lady when you're going through puberty and have shirtless boy pictures everywhere.
Oh, but
But I loved it, and I would never take it back.
There was a lot of moments we had when she lived with us that I was like, oh God. But I look at it now and I'm like, if she didn't live with us, I wouldn't have those memories. You guys wouldn't have those memories.
Nothing brings me more joy than sharing the stories when Grandma lived with us.
Yeah, there's a lot of them. There really is. But also, with that being said, when you guys would go to school, she would get irritated about something, and my mom's name she called me Brenda a lot.
Yeah.
She'd be like, Angela. And I hated that because I wasn't Brenda. I'm not Brenda. I don't even call her mom anymore. I do it on the podcast every once in a while, but like she's Brenda to me. My dad is Jeff. Yeah. I do not, because you need to earn that title, yeah. And they lost it. So anyway, Grandma would go, Angela. And then all of a sudden her brain would go to something Brenda did or didn't do. And it started with affairs that Brenda had. Oh, sorry, Brenda. I'm bringing that up. The phone calls, the flowers that were sent to Grandma's house, that Grandma would call Brenda and be like, hey, why are there flowers here from this guy?
Yeah.
And she goes, oh, those are for you. Like she lied about it.
Yeah.
But then I had to go, wait, Grandma, you have to be right about this, because there was a lady that called when we lived on the farm saying, hey, no, you're spilling the tea, you're good. Saying, hey, I need to talk to your mother because she's fucking my husband. So then it was like, oh, 2 and 2 put together, you know? But then it just Grandma's constant sharing of trauma, I guess you could call it, and hearing about her growing up and her upbringing, all of that was great. But anytime she brought up Brenda, it was always, she would then flip to how much money Brenda owes her, how my dad, she put my dad up against the wall because of this and that. Like, Grandma was constantly...
Well, that's the thing, too, is, like, there have been times, like, growing up, I've heard those things. And, of course, like, Grandma never set out to do that in front of his kids.
No.
And I'm, like, we're just, like, a lot of kids in one house. And with some of the things, like, I'm listening to conversations all the time, multiple of them. Point being is that, with that being said, me not talking to them is validated. And what I mean by, like, all these people telling me these things is because I have people tell me, like, oh yeah, when your grandparents owned the farm, they bought, like, this much hay for me, and they still owe me, like, to this day. And now it's, like, what, 25, 26 years later?
Yeah.
And they still owe people, like, 20 grand, 12 grand, 30.
I don't understand how they're not in jail.
Leo will say, not my son Leo, but a Leo that I'll tell you later.
Yep, no, I know.
$36,000.
Yeah. Someone you know very well. Yes.
Yes,
and
$36,000. And he is also a person who does not lie, does not front, and he did not offer me this information. I was telling my grandma about, some of the stuff that
your grandma on your dad's side.
Yeah. About some of the stuff that you were about to share, and she said, "Oh yeah, that happened to Leonard. They did this to Leonard." And then I'm like, "Nah." And then Leonard's like, "Yeah, but I'm not gonna get into it because it's past, and I'm not gonna get into it anyway."
So it's like
that's sad.
That is sad, and it's also like, where is this holding people accountable, right? Because I was hearing all these stories, but I was also wanting to be in denial, because I was also at that time when Grandma lived with us, I was also majorly seeking out for love and attention from my parents that I was lacking. I was anytime Brenda would get a hold of me, it was to help her, to gamble, to whatever, and then I had to hide that relationship from everybody. Like, if anybody finds out we're hanging out together, Angela, we're done.
And that's fucked up.
How dare you? How would you like it, Abigail, if I went to you, hey, we're gonna hang out today, but you can't tell a soul, even if we have a fucking blast? That would hurt.
Yeah.
That would hurt. I'm your mom. Why wouldn't you be able to tell? Like, so I had to go home on those days and look at Grandma, and I would lie. And then I'd lay in bed, like, why the fuck did I lie? Why am I lying to her about it? And it never dawned on me that some of Grandma's stories, right? Well, then this seeking love and attention and all that from my parents, once that got really old.
Which I just like to say is really hard, because I'm sitting here as a mom now speaking to you about this stuff, and I could not fathom my child having to seek that relationship out with me.
I have not
as
tried.
a parent, as you're on, so then on your side of it, me saying that, on your side of it, having all these children that you admire and love so much and literally go to amazing lengths to have relationships with and love and like make us happy.
Yeah.
I could not, like, that's why I just get so angry with many parents for that reason, because it should never, like, your child should never have to seek that.
No. And also, like, I can't believe I'm going to cry right now. Because I haven't truly cried about my parents in a while because it's been so horrific, right? Mm-hmm. And this isn't me being a drama queen. This is just me stating what happened. But the worst part is they hurt the one person on this planet that ended up dying, not getting that closure, not having the idea in her head that no one believed her.
Yeah.
And that is why I feel like you had told me, like, Mom, you got it. Like, Grandma would have been already on this shit and showing people. And obviously you got this file for a reason, because I was given a file.
Well, the reason why I say that, and that's why I kept saying I'm proud, is because for the audience, Mom was saying for the longest time, and Dad, you're going to agree with me when you hear this. Mom was saying for the longest time.
I don't think he's going to agree with this podcast.
He's about to agree with my statement I'm about to make, though. Mom was saying how she feels like Grandma wasn't with her. Grandma said that she was going to haunt us, and it wasn't there, and she was confused.
I was so confused.
And she's like, give me a sign, give me a sign. And then she started thinking it was all this, like, stupid little shit, and I'm thinking, no. She had, like, a Hummer.
A Hummer would drive by, yeah.
Or, like, like, stupid little things. And I'm like, no, Mom, that's not it. If Grandma's going to, and I, obviously sometimes I'll be like, yeah, try to make her feel better. But that's not Grandma. Grandma's grand. She would have made a grand gesture.
Oh, and she's also brutal.
All of a sudden,
she was brutal and blunt.
And that's exactly what she did. She waited long enough for Mom
to heal
to go, oh my gosh, okay. Like, she was waiting.
It was a year. It was a year, literally.
Finally, we're like, okay, I don't think she's going to do it. And then Grandma's like, oh, ha, you little bitch. Here you go. You think you're getting a chair? You think you're just going to talk to Michelle and get a chair? You really think Grandma would just give you a chair? No. Then gave you
So I end up getting a text message.
That was the sign.
The text message was a picture of one of my grandma's chairs that she had at a nursing home, and saying, do you want this? And it was a year later. But the lady, Michelle, that I absolutely adore, who was with my grandma in her last moments, she was like, I have it. I couldn't get rid of it. I couldn't, because she gave it to me. But when I got there, all of a sudden I was handed, we talked for a while, and then she handed me this file. I didn't know what this file was going to hold.
No.
And
because it's been so long since Grandma passed away, and usually somebody would give,
I was just at the point of, like,
but I think that's why she did it, to give you some time to get closure, and to give you time to, like, properly think.
Yeah, she really knows how close our relationship, my grandma and I's relationship was. So the file ended up being so big. So that's what we're going to be talking about. But I wanted to just give you a little background. So Grandma lived with us, and then my mental stability wasn't great. So of course Brenda and Jeff, that's makes them look bad, and so therefore I became the black sheep. I was literally cut out of the family. So no matter if I made a mistake and wanted to say sorry, it didn't matter. I could not contact them.
Well, at the end of the day, too, I think that, like, and not only was it the image thing, because that's definitely, like...
that's a huge thing.
That definitely is a huge thing, but I think, too, that the whole, like... Because she really... They made it a point not to, like, only squash your reputation... But the way I look at it, and the reason why, like you always say, I don't want you to feel bad or feel in the middle because I had that relationship with Grandma. But the way I look at it is, because after truly thinking about it and the file, and then me telling you, like, hey, I was pushing you to, like, send it out or talk about it or something. And then I told you, you know what, I'll give you your time till you are ready and I'll stop pushing. And then I took that step back.
Yeah.
And that's only because I've thought about it. And I think it's truly because you had a relationship that she did not have with her mom. Like,
I think that she was jealous.
And I think that that's why she did the things with me that she did with me instead of the boys. Is because she had boys. She had other grandkids. But...
That makes so much sense,
actually.
But
you are her kid, and her mother had a better relationship with you than her. So why wouldn't she want to have a better relationship with me, your only daughter, your only oldest daughter?
That makes so much sense.
Your only oldest daughter. Why wouldn't she want to do that to you? And then when grandma, and that's why I say I don't think about that shit. Like, I don't think she was actually, like, using it against. I think she was, like, using it against for the court reasons. I think it was because she knew that you were going to know that she said that. And it was basically like a, hey, you took my mom and now I'm taking your daughter.
Yeah.
And she made it into something that it wasn't. And I think that's really what it all was shitty. All them years. And that's
it's a mind fuck and it's shitty. And why do that to someone with mental illness?
Because she doesn't. And the reason why I say that is because she has good relationships with all of her other grandkids, all of her other children. All of them.
I know.
Besides us. And then I blocked her and she still tries to reach out.
So now my kid,
I think it's about.
All of my kids don't know Brenda and Jeff. And for the longest time, I was sad for you guys. And I'm angry for, at them. But then it's like, why would I want them to know people that do this?
Well, actually, like, recently even, I know, we'll get back into the paperwork thing, but to reiterate on that, like, yeah, it's sick that I'm the only kid out of all of them to have a relationship with my grandparents, to know about Grandpa's recipes.
Yeah.
To say
why wouldn't you want to make memories?
To say that I am like Grandpa Jeff and they would never know, that sucks. It sucks.
It sucks.
And, it sucks the most because,
Sorry, I keep moving around because I'm nervous.
Oh, I get that. It sucks because they're never going to be able to be at any of our weddings.
You guys, the thing that
they're never
going
to be able to know who Leroy truly is, or they're never going to be able to get to know how fucking great and awesome we are.
They are missing out.
They're just going to hear about it. They're just going to watch from afar.
And I don't even think they're watching it, and I don't really care. But, so Grandma, when she was at the nursing home, signed me up to be her POA. This is where all the dirt comes.
Yes.
So before she went totally into the dementia mode, she signed me up to be her POA of health. Mm-hmm. I was to make the decisions and all that. I wanted absolutely nothing to do with financials, nothing, because Grandma's life,
slippery slope.
Yeah, and also Grandma's life meant more to me than money, and I didn't want to have that extra burden. I would rather just care for her, make those decisions so she doesn't have to. And that was our relationship. Grandma called me almost every single day. But then all of a sudden, those phone calls changed from happy, and then I think it was when COVID hit, all of a sudden Dad and I were coming back from a vacation from our anniversary, and I got a phone call from Grandma's nursing facility, and I was like, oh no, what's going on? And the lady goes, Angela, we need to know how to fix this, because if we don't fix it, we're gonna have to kick your grandma out. And I'm like, what the hell are you talking about?
This was Bellevue, right?
This was not Bellevue. This was Grand Care.
Okay.
Grandma had broken her hip.
Which is worse because they actually had to move Grandma out of that nicer facility for these same reasons.
Yes. Money. Yep. And also grandma broke her hip.
And I just like to say for the crowd, this is also when the signs of grandma started talking about how she felt like things were going missing, and she felt like things about her house weren't going well. And that's when they started trying to diagnose grandma, and that's what made it the slippery slope.
Yes, that's actually a very good thing. So, like,
that's something that is like important.
That is huge. That is a huge thing. So, like, I was like right before our trip and everything, they had asked me if they could test grandma for all this stuff. I'm like, absolutely, anything that will help her, like, have at her. I didn't know how much the stuff cost because, once again, I have nothing to do with the money.
Exactly.
I don't know how much she would got in the account.
And it was for her better good.
I literally wanted the better good, for the better good. But this is when grandma started saying, hey, where, like, because her house was sold. And she was, and anybody that deals with dementia.
Around that whole time, and grandma was very nervous about grandma selling that house because she was really nervous, about what
Brenda.
was going to happen.
She was nervous about Brenda.
Because she really wanted them to sell it to you guys, and you guys did have the means of buying it.
We wanted to buy it, but Brenda outright said, nope, I am POA of money, which I forgot to say it. Brenda was POA of money. So, grandma got diagnosed, and when she got diagnosed with her dementia, she started making accusations that Brenda was stealing money, taking money, not putting money on her account, her personal account at the nursing facility. So, like, she couldn't get her jelly beans. And God forbid, if this woman didn't get her jelly beans, you were going to hear about it.
Things about her
I found a note just this last weekend of her that she sent me in the mail saying she only had 2 pounds of jelly beans left. Like, really? You had to send that in the mail? So, if she didn't have her jelly bean money, there was an issue, right? Well, I thought that was just little, minor. So, I would go there, drop some stuff off, and then grandma would look just, like, distraught. But I also just chalked it up to the fact that it was COVID. Like, nobody could really visit, right?
Yeah.
But then it got dicier. Then grandma started on with, okay, Angela, Brenda's not giving me, like, paying the bill. Brenda's not paying the bill.
Yeah, or she would come over and then say she would, like, stop at I remember these things because she'd say, oh, I'll stop at the credit card machine and bring you money because all grandma would ask for was like, and I remember this.
Diet Pepsi.
It's like Diet Pepsi and at least $40 to go to Goodwill.
She wanted to always go to, grandma was a thrifter.
Yes, and she would buy her books, her jelly beans, her Jelly Belly right at the freaking Goodwill.
Yep. She don't give no fucks. It was very simple. But there would be no money. There would be no money in the card. So, like, I would front her it because you want to know why? I would rather see her happy than sad. So I tried to get a hold of Brenda at this time, like, hey, what's going on? Grandma's saying all this stuff. And, I got voicemail hey, guess what? I was actually blocked, which is why I got voicemail. Tried to call Jeff and imagine that.
Just as like, my side note, as you're saying this, like,
no, I like it.
It upsets me to hear, like, as the CNA in me, and the reason why I left healthcare is because of reasons like this. Because I am a great CNA and I will, like, preach on that, but I had to leave because of reasons like this. Because how are you gonna both be POAs? I don't care what kind of drama you got going on.
Oh, I never tried to have drama.
And I know, but I'm saying, like, in anybody, in any situation, as a POA. Your job is to be taking care of that person because they can't. You are their guardian. Yeah,
I was grandma's guardian.
Just because you have drama, no matter what kind, you both should have each other's information all the time, 24/7 on speed dial. Because especially with somebody who's strong-willed like grandma and had the dementia like grandma did.
Grandma didn't stop, and this is what makes her a force to reckon with.
Families fail a family member because of that reason.
Actually, it happens so often, we're talking about.
Too often.
That they actually have social workers that work at the nursing homes, and that is
This is
sad.
why there is something called healthcare burnout, because there are just, you cannot, it's a job, obviously, that is not for everybody. It takes a certain person.
Oh, it takes a dedicated
But
person.
at the same time, these people who are so dedicated become family
yes.
to these people.
100%. And that is what Michelle is
yes.
to me. Michelle isn't just a healthcare worker at Grandma's nursing facility.
Is why,
you saw Michelle crying when
yes.
we were packing Grandma's room up.
And this is why the healthcare burnout, I really, in my personal opinion, is a big reason why we see that 70% mark of the elderly neglect and elderly abuse.
Oh, it's sad.
It's because this is not like something that everybody can do. And so that burnout obviously creates resentment and creates terrible things, and bad things happen, especially when people are getting paid right. Like, exactly. It is really a real thing, and this is why things like this are so important to talk about and for people to communicate on so others can do differently.
Yep. And my daughter-in-law, your sister-in-law, Becca, she has the same thing. Like, she's the same thing.
And I'm very happy to find out that she helps run a facility.
Yeah.
That makes me honestly...
Her clients are her family. She said that's all, like, they have me. When I go walk in there, I am their family. And that is literally, I have to say, I would have never wanted Grandma to go into a home, but hear me out. 8 kids, mental illness. I was struggling.
It's a lot. Yes.
But so like,
and it
I was
did
glad
a lot on your mental health to even
did.
put Grandma in there.
It did, because she's my person.
Yes.
But where Grandma was at was called Grand Care, and that was based out of Green Bay. They ended up being Grandma's amazing family. These women, like, they listened to Grandma, even though she came off annoying and like, I need to call Bucky because, which is one of her sons. Yeah, she would call her son Bucky that lived in Green Bay and be like, Brenda is not paying the bill, and then he'd be like, I don't want to hear about this. You're making stuff up. Quit having Angela tell you stuff, and hang up. It got so bad, and then all of a sudden I got that one call, like I was saying earlier, on our anniversary trip. When we got back, and it ended up being like $35,000 that Grandma was in debt. And I said, how is that possible? And she said, bounce checks, no money in the account, Brenda.
Well, and to get into it more, I saw and many other people, like our little, obviously 8 kids, our crew, we're all adults pretty much. The ones who wanted or chose to see, not that, our grandparents cared to have a relationship with them anyway to begin with, just pretend to, they saw it for themselves as well, and it was well over 35, over 46.
It was well over that, because her house was sold, and I will get into that. So, I'm like, how the hell can you get $35,000? I was talking to the lady. So the lady asked me, sorry, Bucky, that you are possibly going to hear this, but I am going to call you out on your shit. Grandma's oldest son.
We got the papers.
I have the papers. I have the proof. If any of y'all...
We got the message receipts from everything.
I have all the emails. And the emails are everything. But not only that, I have 5 years worth of bank statements every single month. And I'll tell you what.
And you know what?
Here's how it goes. Hang on. So here's how it goes. Sorry, Abby. I'm in a roll now. Now I'm in a roll.
Now we're done being sad.
I am sad, but I am also pissed. So here's how it goes. Angela, me. I became the scapegoat. She's just drama. She's making shit up just to get us upset. Don't listen to her. So then, she's got a mental illness. She's useless.
She just wants Grandma's money.
She just wants Grandma's. It's always Angela. It's all Grandma talks about. Well, did you ever think that maybe it was because I was the only one that gave a shit enough about Grandma?
But that's still a lie, though, because guess what? Even when Grandma lived with us, I remember all the time, April, Heather,
exactly,
Bobby, all of them.
But they didn't want to hear that.
Grandma loved them all so much. Every time we went to the store, oh my God, this person would love this. I should buy them.
Porcelain dolls.
I'm not going to lie. I would be to the grandma, and I would be shitting on Grandma's parade. 14-year-old me, like, a fucking teenage angst. Like, fuck them hoes, Grandma. Like, you've been living here all this time and they haven't even
Exactly.
seen to come see the house you're living in, or if your bed's stable.
Exactly.
You're sleeping in a fucking futon, bunk bed under your
It
granddaughter.
got to the point where, because Grandma was so resilient and because she was so strong-willed and stubborn, and the way she grew up, because she gave a shit and wanted people to be held accountable, she got annoying to them. Not to the facility and not to the system, but to her kids, Bucky, Bobby, and Brenda. And guess what? I didn't say their last names, but if you want it, it's Koopman. Oh, oops. What are you going to do? Is sue me? Go ahead.
But
what I'm getting
it's
at,
not defamation of character. It's just
it's
facts.
no. I have the facts, and that's why I'm talking. Like, I honestly,
it's literally
I've been holding on to this file
the
for.
only reason why no legal action was ever actually followed through is because Grandma unfortunately passed right as they were gonna do stuff.
And so what ended up happening was, oh, drum roll please. The black sheep of the family was told, hey, I need you to come here to do a police report on Brenda. Oh, didn't want to do that. But Grandma was crying, Angela, I can't believe I'm going to cry at this. I can't even afford jelly beans. What has your mother done to me? And after hearing that, it's like, you know what? No, I got this, Abby. Sorry. She's holding my hand and everything. After hearing that, you know what? God damn it. I was going to make sure I was there for that police report. Well, I never saw the police report until I got that file. And the police report, it says that Brenda is accused of not, paying the $35,000 bill and is bouncing checks. And then the cop called Brenda, and Brenda said, it's Angela. She's got a history of doing this. She likes to lay the blame on me.
Okay.
She's drama.
But
you saw the report.
I saw the report, but you know what I think of too, like, and that's the thing that really
she used
sucks about
me.
This is that, like, I have that, like, I know I keep saying CNA mindset, but I really do, and I have the mindset of I love my grandma, I lived with her, I watched her go through this, right?
Yeah.
So I have all this stuff, and I think even if she wants to say these things, and even after reading the report, her saying like, oh yeah, it's all Angela, and she just wants to make
why didn't they look into it?
And she just I have her daughter, and she
in the report it says her daughter literally lives with me. Yeah.
Yes, and she's trying to make me look bad, and I would never do this. I've been taking such great care of my mom. Okay. You've been taking such great care of your mom, but that's why and the police know, like, they have to know that the facility is starting this report, and they know.
No, they didn't.
They didn't?
No, on the police report it says that I was the one making the statement, I wasn't.
I'm sorry, I was just so dumbfounded at the other part.
No, I'm dumbfounded at the whole thing, because either way, if someone makes a claim like that,
when I was reading about that, all I could think of is, okay, you're such a great daughter, and you live such a great, accomplished life. You're supposed to be, and this is my perspective, this is me living in the bar, working
Oh, hang on,
there.
We didn't even get to the bar.
This is what I'm getting at, though, is like me doing the tills, all this shit, right?
Yeah.
Okay?
For Brenda and Jeff.
For them, me being on that side of this, all this, and me being the one being brought up, okay?
Yeah.
With that being said, you're such a great daughter, and you're making, you're not doing this to her and all this, and you're the one stealing the money. But as her daughter, who truly cares about her mom, I know if you were so goddamn broke and I worked all those hours at a factory,
she had a nice fucking job, didn't she?
And I drive around brand new vehicles. My husband's driving around brand new vehicles, and I have money for a bar, and I have the money to be taking my granddaughter out to get her nails done.
But did she have money for a bar?
Exactly. And I have the money to be taking my granddaughter to get her hair done every 6 months at some fancy place.
Oh,
like, no. You have the money to do that, but your mom is getting kicked out of her homes. Your mom is having a hard time buying jelly beans and Depends and all this.
Fucking jelly beans, man.
I'm sorry. That's obviously fucking shady.
It's very shady.
And anybody who didn't realize these things, and that's like the reason why I take a big step back from everybody else too.
Yeah.
Because it's like, how do you not see that? Are you choosing to just, you want to live that same life? You want to constantly fall, get back up, fall,
Exactly.
get back up, fall, get back up?
Exactly.
I know I sure as hell don't.
No, and you know, the one thing, because I will say Grandma raised me, because I feel like I have her heart. She literally had an enlarged heart. That's what, like, she was diagnosed with, and it goes very well because she does, like, her old friend that I saw this summer, I forget where it's at, but it was her Lakewood. Yeah, she has a candy shop there,
and
which
I'm
is
telling
amazing.
You, these old ladies that come from Lakewood, I've met a couple of them working, and they are some tough little.
But she owns her own place and everything, and I went there just because Dad brought us there, and because he knew I was having, like, because I am still suffering, and it's ridiculous because she was like old and all that, but it's just, she was my compass, you know, and either way. We went to that Lakewood place, and when I told her Grandma had passed, she was so heartbroken. And then she's like, you know, she came off super brass, but she had a huge heart. I'm like, no, she literally did. Like, medically, she literally did. But with that being said, like, Grandma, I would like to say, rubbed off on me in all the right ways because I have voice recordings of her giving me advice. And she just wants love. She wanted love, you know, and the one thing she wanted at the end of the day was truly the truth.
And to everybody, though, too, like, she wanted the love and the truth out of
everyone. It wasn't like it was just.
She loved working at the church so much.
Oh, she loved it.
Why she loved coming over and seeing all of her grandkids, even Bobby's kids.
And she knew about their lives and everything.
Uncle Bucky's kids, all of them. She loved just everybody, even people, homeless people.
I always heard about April and Heather. I always heard about them.
She never wanted to give money to the people on the streets, but you know what? She saw people. She would even go to McDonald's.
Yep.
Anywhere close, she'd tell Mom, pull over. We're buying food. And Mom's like, I don't know, we really don't have the money. And Grandma goes, I do care. They obviously don't.
Yep.
And she'd make us pull over and get them food. And she'd tell us kids, you may not be able to give money, but a meal sure helps. And one hand washes the other. And if you give good into the world will give good back. And that's
how
disheartening about it all.
That's how I live my life. I live my life to, like, and I have bitched a little bit about it with Dad, but how he gave money to a quote homeless guy, and then he bought a lottery ticket. But, like, at the end of the day, Dad just didn't want to hear him sing.
Yeah.
But, like, that's the kind of people we are. We don't have everything, but yet we have everything. Exactly. And Grandma taught me that, right? Mm-hmm. So it was, to me, it was sick and twisted that Brenda was not taking accountability. Was not at least sitting down. Instead, because I have the evidence, I can just plainly say it. Instead, she was sending emails in response to their emails like, hey, Brenda, you know, how come this check bounced? As you know, we've been through this before. One of them, you've read it. It was like something, thing, like, as you know, or as you might already know, these two checks bounced, blah, blah, blah. But we forgot to mention, Abigail, that even though Brenda doesn't want to admit it, but yet I have straight up facts, her bar, Enough Said, was bought. Drumroll, please. Around the same time, Grandma signed the POA papers, and Brenda, Bucky, and Bobby, if you need records, come on over, or heck, I'll even fax them, I'll email them, I will send them in the mail, I will FedEx, I will drive them to you. I don't care. I have solid proof, which is why I'm coming out. I am coming out for Grandma. So, these emails, the nursing home ended up getting a hold of me. The cops clearly didn't do anything. So they did the best thing ever. They went a step above and beyond, and they got a hold of elderly rights, which I didn't even know was like a legal thing. And they got a hold of them to see if there was a case that could be made. So then those elderly rights people got a hold of Grandma's emails, and
I would just like to say, as a person, like, for any of you listening who have never worked or don't know much about the medical field.
Oh, it is hard.
Especially in an elder care setting. I have seen, like I said, 70%. I'm going to keep reiterating that because that's a huge thing to me.
Yeah. Hopefully it's correct.
It is. I promise. If not, it's worse. Hopefully not. But with that being said, you know, it takes a lot for people to actually get that far into an investigation where they are constantly getting a hold of you.
Yeah.
It is hard. There's been a lot of times where I have reported things that were just never taken care of many, many times that should have definitely, and I'm talking large bruises on our elderly folks' bodies.
Yeah. Now, Grandma didn't have that going on unless she did it.
Like families who would show up once and then their members would be crying a lot, and then like they wouldn't have the things they needed after that. Like they would stop bringing shampoo. Like even the simplest things. Oh, I'm mad at them.
But
somebody else will bring them shampoo. Guess what? They won't.
No,
they can't.
And honestly, the biggest thing that I was told was the financial situations with the elderly and the nursing home is the biggest part.
Yes.
That is not only fraud, but you are fucking like the sheer fact that it messed with Grandma's mind and they used Grandma's dementia against her. Like Brenda's like, I put money on the account.
That's why I said that
She's
was so
just
important.
senile. She is crazy. It's her dementia. No. I have the proof in my closet and I can get it out of the closet.
But I'm just
like
saying,
it is literally they used her medical problems against her, and I think that is sick.
That's why I said earlier, that's why it's so important, the timing of Grandma's diagnosis and when all of this happened. Because that's exactly how it starts.
And then what ended up happening was Grandma calling me up crying every single day. Literally, sometimes more than once, more than twice. And the nursing home would call me saying, we can't get your grandma to calm down. She's really upset. She wants to know where the house money was that your mom sold. And it's like, I had no answers.
And it's terrible.
I had zero answers.
Grandma...
And how do you console someone? I loved Grandma so much, and then to just have her crying on the other line, and you knowing in your heart that it is being done, but you don't have the proof. So Grandma ended up, like, once she ended up finding out she was dying, you were there with me on that hospital stay, and I had to lay in bed with her. I didn't have to. I made myself. One of the things was she cried and said, the truth is never going to come out. No one's going to know that my own daughter stole from me. But it's not that she stole from me. And it was like Grandma had like a clear, like, have you ever heard of those like days where you had the good days?
Yes.
Like it was the one day she was crystal clear.
Yes.
It was that. And she's like, no one's ever going to know that she did this to me. Angela, you need to help me. And I didn't know how I was going to help with her. I just found out my favorite person was going to die, you know?
Yeah.
But then you were there when she started lifting her finger, her hand. I mean, like, this person gets this. This person gets this. Why was she so worried about it? Oh, gee, I have an idea, because everything else from her was stolen.
Yeah.
Was taken, and she had no proof.
And you know what?
So our grandma died with everyone thinking that Brenda was telling the truth and I was the villain.
No, you know why? You know why that's not true, though? Because we told them, hey, we're going at this day to get things from Grandma's room. And if you want anything, come get it. And you know what they said to themselves? Well, whatever's in that old bag's room don't matter to us. and it's
Oh no, it did,
unimportant.
because when she was passing away, Bucky was in the background trying to sell Grandma's TV on
Well, that's
Craigslist.
stuff. And guess what?
I mean, she's
everyone-
literally on her deathbed and can hear.
And he couldn't because Colton and I were big brained and we kept that remote and I
Yep.
still have it to this
My
day.
bad. My kids took that remote,
I keep
that
it in my
Roku
memory
TV.
jar. That's a proud moment of mine of
Because you
Colton's.
need that. Because I didn't know how important that was.
That was
but
a
you
proud
truly-
moment of mine of Colton's, and that's
Yeah.
why I kept the remote.
That was their way of getting back. But like honestly,
But you know what makes
Grandma.
it, but you know
but
what
this is what
that
pissed me
shows
off.
me though. This is what I'm getting at though. They were there doing that, but we have things like I had Grandma's bracelets. I'm wearing Grandma's watch. I have Grandma's bracelets, all our jewelry that I made things, and even though I knew that people probably didn't deserve it, I chose
You
to
went
be
on
the
your
bigger
way.
person. Like
Yep.
Grandma would have wanted me to, and I shared.
Oh, and I
it.
did too. I did
And
too.
and even the boys have things from Grandma that are sentimental. I asked Max
Our
the other
stuff
day,
that's
where,
sentimental
where's
is
these ugly birds you get these from? He's like, those were Grandma Koopmans, and that's what I
yeah,
wanted.
and she got him from a penny auction.
Mm-hmm.
Remember when we went there once and she bought me like a cigar
Remember
box?
when she made us wait to visit her?
Yes,
while
that's
she
what
was-
I'm talking about.
Yes, she literally, we sat there for 20 minutes
Yeah,
waiting, watching
'cause
her
she
wave at
waits-
us playing this penny auction.
And ended up winning us stuff.
Yeah.
Like, and guess what? I still have it. You want to know why? Because I would rather that than anything monetary that she could give me. But hear me out, because there's a good twister to this story that I like to flex on. Her name is Ethel. So, not that I should share, but hell, I'm sharing it anyway. So,
Grandma
passed
riding
away.
in topless, so it don't matter.
Grandma passed away, and at the funeral, you could literally see how much it affected me and my family versus everybody else. I mean, I get it. She's old. But also, when you're stealing her money, you should have a little guilt on you. Mm-hmm. You should look a little sad. I was wearing one of Grandma's wedding rings, which, by the way, Brenda had a huge fit about. But Grandma made sure to sign a note saying, Angela gets all these rings. And guess what? I didn't want any of it. I wanted none of it. But I got it. And I am A-okay with that right now.
No, but
I
you
was-
know why you
I
deserve
was-
those though, because you have the love with Dad that Grandma and Grandpa had.
I do. I really do. And also, Grandma was really sick of being used. And she, not that everybody needs to know this, but like she lived with us. So she goes, hey, you know what? If you wipe my ass, I'll wipe yours. You know, and that's literally how it ended up being. Like, she wiped my ass in the beginning of my life. I wiped
But
hers.
even when we
But
were
I was
taking
there for
care of
all
her,
the
like-
ugly.
But that's the thing though too, like all the ugly, on top of everything, people want to talk so much smack. And like they expected me to stick up for them, and that's the thing that makes me most irritated about it, is because like me being the oldest and the girl of the family, Grandma didn't feel comfortable with the boys like helping her get dressed and all that stuff. They didn't share a room with Grandma. They didn't have like that relationship with Grandma that I did.
No, they didn't have to see her
lived there.
titties.
But Grandma also and I like also had that just like that girl bond. And so with that being said, when they sit there and say all those things, all I can think about is how can you say this when all I can think about is I remember that one time I saw Grandma's boob and I couldn't stop
And you
laughing.
actually said that at the
And
funeral.
She exactly right in front of everybody, and I was proud to share that story. And everybody laughed and they were like, "That was some great stories." And I remember looking at Kayla, Joe, and Paul because they were the ones telling me like.
I would think they would have talked at the funeral.
That was a really funny story. That was a great story to share.
Yeah.
And I looked and I said, "You guys would have had more of them if you would have had a relationship with her." And I left it at that. And
like Brenda didn't even go up, but she was really. I mean, I thought I was trying to play it cool, but I knew. Like I told Dad from the very beginning of our relationship, once I lose Grandma, it's gonna be bad. It's gonna be ugly. You ain't gonna like that person because I'm going to be devastated.
But you did.
And
so amazing.
But when they wanted to close that casket and everyone was around, I couldn't do it. I lost my shit, right? But none of that money and financial shit was going on in my head, right? But our truck was shit. We almost had to find a ride to the
no, I remember.
to the funeral. So all of a sudden, the money became a thing because someone's got to pay off that bill. But that's when I found out, I found out just recently with all this stuff. But Grandma ended up paying back all that bill herself because she reclaimed the POA of her money. Michelle helped her with that. And then on top of it, when Grandma passed away, I didn't know Grandma made me beneficiary of anything.
But this is
I wanted nothing.
I know, but can I say something about this? Because I knew you were going to say
Yeah, I have to because it's the ending.
Yes, this is towards the ending, so I'm going to say my ending about this all. Is that this is a weird, way to say this, but I noticed, that same day, after the same grandma's funeral, you were getting good calls, and we're not going to get into what those good calls were, but you know what those good calls I'm talking about is. Okay?
Yeah, I actually can't talk about that because it's written in a contract.
Exactly. That's why I'm saying, you know what those are.
Yeah.
Then, because you keep saying, she said that her purpose was never done and all this, and she was saying that.
She was.
And the thing that amazes me about this, and, you were saying how, you weren't having signs and all this stuff, and, I truly think that Grandma's purpose was finished. And that's why, she said she'd come to haunt us, and she didn't, and she just sent you this sign, because, as you just said, Grandma, even in the state she was, regained her power.
She did.
Helped herself out.
Yep. Oh, more than that.
Did enough to gift you in the end with something that she would have loved.
I know. So what ended up happening?
I'm not finished on this. She gave all of the people that you knew truly, truly mattered to her. She even said goodbye to her kids.
She did. And she even asked if they had a boner.
She got her own, very own Elvina Koopman style goodbye to every single one of us.
She did.
And once she passed, I noticed that she said she'd haunt us, and only good things started happening for all of us.
That is true. That is very true.
So yeah, I do think that only good things are happening because Grandma's mission was done. And do I think she's haunting us? Yeah. But all that love that she put into the world is now coming to us.
So, what ended up happening then was, after her funeral and after maybe a day or so, I got a phone call from the funeral home, and I'm like, what? I don't have to pay anything. What are you talking about? And they were trying to say that the granddaughter, the firstborn granddaughter, was supposed to pay off all of her funeral stuff. And I'm like, what? What the hell? They sent me a contract to sign saying I would pay it. And I was like, I literally do not have to pay it. Found out Grandma signed me up as a beneficiary to something. It wasn't anything huge, but it was enough to pay off her bills at the nursing home and enough to get some school supplies. And I put $2,000. I asked, Dad came up with this. Dad goes, ask them how much your mom or whoever put on the funeral. Yeah. And then match it. And Robert, or Bobby, paid $2,000, so I sent $2,000.
As you should have.
And I thought, you know what? Grandma would have wanted that, right?
She would have, even though it wasn't your job and Grandma would have acknowledged that. Yeah. You still did the bigger thing.
Because I don't want to be Brenda.
No.
Because that's this whole story.
And that's the whole point in this podcast.
Yeah, so what I'm getting... So then... Because I do want to flex a little bit. I have a really cool fucking Jeep that is named Ethel. And I only have it because Grandma helped pay for half of it. Sorry, not sorry. But Grandma put me on, which I had no clue. And you should have seen me at the freaking bank. They're like, you need to come here and close out this account. I'm like, what are you fucking talking about? I get there, and it was one of Grandma's old friends that I knew, right? Sits me down, shows me the amount. I almost passed out, and I never passed out. I was like, and then tears, and then Colton's looking at me like, yes, payday. I'm like, vehicle, dude. So then when, so thank you, Grandma, and sorry, Brenda, Bucky, and Bobby. I am so sorry about that. And I only say it that way because I don't want to be like you guys, but the problem is, Angela always took care of Grandma, loved her unconditionally, and even in death, she fucking had my back. My vehicle was shot.
Well, I just feel bad for everybody. I feel bad for everybody and the other grandkids because
they didn't get what we had.
None of them came to get Grandma's stuff, right? We had to go. We were the only people.
I wish we would have saved more shirts.
Well, I have Grandma's favorite red Solo Cup shirt. That's what means the most to me. I have some of Grandma's favorite things, I'd like to think. Her red Solo Cup, her mannequin that held all her necklaces for the longest time.
Hey, girl, she loved anything that was
I have her watch. This means a lot to me.
Yeah.
I have the memories with her.
The memories are the biggest.
These sentimental things like that. That's why they mean the most to me.
I have
a picture. I of
still
Grandma
sleep.
In a bikini.
Oh yeah, that Grandma in the.
Sexy,
you know what? That should
picture.
actually go
and
on
I'm
the cover.
I want to get a nice frame for it. And I'm gonna put it.
It
up
is
in the
hilarious.
House.
She got it for my grandpa as a
put it up
gift.
in the house.
But no, I guess the big thing is the tea that I wanted to spill is, enough said. Bar and Grill in Black Creek is no longer there because my grandma died and stopped funding it because, well, Brenda was a POA. And that's how she paid her staff. Exactly. That's how she paid her staff, her vendors. And if you want any proof on this, get a hold of me. You have my email that'll be attached to this anyway.
We have addresses.
We have address. Whatever you need. If you want to read up on those emails, because those are good, juicy ones when Brenda's like, oh my gosh, I didn't know. Or the 1 month where she spent $8,000 at the casino, she sent an email, I've been so busy this month, I totally forgot. You were busy in the casino, bitch.
Like to say,
that is elderly abuse.
I would just like to say, though, too, is as she is doing this with Grandma's money and she has no contact with my mother and all this stuff, and doing all this, they are squashing my mom's reputation, basically.
I was literally the blame for the money.
While Mom sat there, said nothing, posted nothing, was saying nothing. And then when she would try to talk to them, like, hey, my parents, I love you, I miss you, and I wish we wouldn't have this, they would pin out after her. Don't be that parent. Break your generational curses.
And that is exactly what we're doing.
But on top of it, be the bigger person. Even if other people are squashing your name, doesn't matter. Let people think what they want to think. Do what I did. At the end of the day, just like Mom.
Yep.
That's why I say so much.
There was no point in trying to say, no, they're wrong because, one, I had no proof.
Exactly.
The only reason why, and I didn't even want to really talk about this on the podcast. Yeah, and I didn't really want to talk about it on the podcast because I didn't want to, one, play victim, and two, blemish their name. But honestly, I do feel like people need, if there is listeners that are going to hear this, honestly, they need to understand, there is a lot of responsibility that goes into being a POA. And you need to take that seriously. Not go to Oneida Bingo and Casino or any other place, or just strictly go to the ATM at North Shore and take all the money out that was supposed to pay for Grandma's bill.
You can't get tired of it either.
And honestly,
that's the thing too about it. You cannot get tired. Your job as a POA, especially a medical POA,
I had to wake up many times in the middle of the night because Grandma couldn't breathe.
It is never over, and your phone, just like I said earlier, if you are two POAs and you don't get along, then maybe you guys need to be rethinking things. Because if you cannot come together as a mutual unit for that one person, then you are not the people for the job.
And the sad part is, I remember the exact day and exactly how Brenda was acting and everything when she was in my house, rubbing Grandma's leg that was on the blue ottoman, saying that she was going to take care of her. I was going to be it seemed like
so genuine,
and really, it was malicious. And so, go ahead. Tell everyone I'm a piece of crap. Tell everyone I'm a drama queen. Tell everyone I have a mental illness and I'm lazy and I'm this and I'm that. But if you're going to do all that, make sure to also tell them that you stole your mother's dignity, her respect. You made her end up going to the grave wondering if anyone really believed her. That's sick.
No, you made her going to the grave thinking that she only had this small select group of people.
But she was
that
okay with
loved
that.
her. And that's what sucks.
Like saying that night, that day, all my kids were in there saying goodbye.
But you know what?
Literally,
That's
that was
okay,
her people.
because you birthed and you had come together with enough kids to birth more children to live her stories on and to have her personality and her
and
live
exactly.
on through all of us.
And so, yes, at
Every
the end of the day,
one of us have Grandma Koopman in us.
yes, and at the end of the day, when it comes to the money stuff, go ahead. Ask why I have my Jeep. I will tell you why. Because my grandma from the grave made sure to take care of my ass. And I didn't want to get something that was just ordinary. Because grandma was not ordinary. And it was part of her money. So we went all out. And it was the best decision. Grandma would have freaking loved that thing. And I don't feel guilty about it at all. The only thing I feel guilt about is the fact that grandma ended up dying without Brenda saying, yes, I did do this. Elderly abuse.
Yes, and I would like to end that tidbit with
Honestly, if you're in the predicament that I was in, and I still am in, it's going to sound really dumb, but try really hard to not let it get to your head, because there's no way you can change.
Don't be the person to let that start to affect your whole life and tear you down.
Okay, it tore me down.
It sucks, and it's one of the hardest things to go through, especially if you are in that position where you care and you don't care about the money and you really just... It's a hard thing.
It's a mind
fuck.
Keep
doing it. Because it means the most to that person in the end. And at the end
validate
of the day,
them.
You can have you can go away in your life knowing that you gave somebody that respect that you would want at the end of your days.
Correct.
You can be happy knowing that you're the bigger person, and that money, as a broke single mom who lives with her brothers, money always comes back to you, and there's always another day. Nothing is ever more important than loving your family and supporting your family.
100%. And honestly, if you're going to birth humans, I know grandma, because she raised us. Literally raised us. So
I would also just like to point out about these same people fucking people over constantly are the same people always going bankrupt and are always the same people having to move.
And they're always going to blame somebody else.
With that being said, what you put into the world will come back to you.
Correct. And like I was saying with grandma living with us, it was a blessing because she helped me shape you guys into beautiful human beings as well, because I would not want to be a Brenda or a Jeff. I mean, that's just my opinion. I don't know how they sleep at night.
Well, I wouldn't have wanted to do your job with all those kids without Grandma Koopman.
Oh, I wouldn't have been able to. She was a saint. She brought diapers over all the time.
Don't be terrible. Go sit on the Davenport.
Oh, Matthew was always in trouble. Go sit on the Davenport, Matthew. I'm not sick of your shit.
Are you lying? I don't like liars. Jesus,
but also she had those talks where she's rubbing your leg and giving you Jesus
I'm
loves
not mad at you. I'm disappointed.
Yeah, that's worse. But I'd like to end this off seriously with be aware of your surroundings when it comes to, being in a nursing home. If you see someone struggling, listen to them, even if they have dementia, because they could be potentially telling the truth, like my grandma. And anything and everything that I brought up in this episode, I have solid, hardcore proof for. So please just hit me up and I'll send it your way. I'm willing to send it to anyone. Literally, I really don't care. And actually doing this, thank you, hun, for kind of pushing it out on me because I feel like I'm gonna leave here today like with a huge
I know
weight
I'm
off
gonna
my shoulders.
even, it's not even my whole ordeal, but even knowing that you are now talking about it and this is your first time talking publicly to anybody besides your family about it is a huge thing to me. And I really am so proud and I'm so happy
Thank
because
you.
I know that Grandma Koopman would want you to do this because I feel like that's why she
She would have been
that's
preaching.
why I feel like she sent you this, not to even like satisfy herself at the end of the day, but
No.
to show you like, hey, you can do this, you can stick up for people and myself, and you can show them that you weren't the problem, that you weren't this.
Yeah, I want my name. I want my name
You are
clean.
better than them.
But at the
and
same time,
that's
you're
all
right.
That matters. And guess what? That's the thing is you're not out talking to every Tom, Dick, and Harry about this. This is your first time, and this will probably be your last time.
Unless you guys get a hold of me, yes. Because like at the end of the day, I don't want to die with regrets either, and one of them would be me not telling
and another
anybody.
tidbit I'd like to put in is don't let all your family's drama stop you from loving your family still.
Exactly.
That's another thing.
Like, I just got told yesterday I have
family,
daddy issues from the psychiatrist.
I've seen a lot of our family not talk to my siblings or all this stuff over these things.
And because you have my blood.
And it's like, yeah, simply because we're her child.
Yeah.
Don't be that family.
Don't be that family. That is shit. That's
shit. Not family. That's just blood. And guess what, people?
You can
lot
build
more flies with honey than you do blood.
Yeah, you can literally build your own family and with strangers, and it'd be a hell of a lot easier than to live with friends and stuff.
And that's why it's so easy, unfortunately, to come to these conclusions in life.
Yeah. So thank you for today, for listening,
and
Abigail, and
I would like to
else.
just actually reach out with knowing that the winter season is here and we're having longer nights and longer days. Things start to get more mundane being stuck in the house. Remember that. Watch your loved ones. You know, mental health is a real thing. And
check in
that's
with
the whole
your
point
neighbors.
Of all these podcasts. You know, watch people. If you get depressed and you really need somebody to talk to, you really don't feel like you have anybody, direct message us. You know, we're always here.
Exactly. I literally don't have I do have a lot going on, but I'm always available.
There's always somebody. Remember, guys, there's always somebody there for you.
And also, make sure you don't have Brenda be your PO. And with that being said, thank you for tuning in. And if you'd like to throw a little cash my way to support my show and help me with some equipment,
yeah, our mic sucks, so we don't have to stop taking breaks while we
it's
already
actually a
leave.
computer. But either way, click that support the show link, and after, just have a great day.
Yeah, bye.
I'm not done. Last but not least, embrace the weird and make normal feel boring. Bye.